It's time to pick up this. Yes, that is still building, but the Ceti Lacera. This thing might be better than the other weapon, because a lot of people are complaining about that. But forged for veterans of Scarlet Spear. This is basically the event weapon. This is a new weapon they have hidden behind the event, but this is, it literally says, forged for the veterans. This was aimed to be the event-based weapon. This is what should be good from here. So, purchase this. Yes. I was about to hit that again. Ceti Lacera. Just takes normal stuff. Doesn't use the Arcwing Railjack based stuff the other one does. But yeah, 8,150 salvage, not really that much. 400 Oxium, can be for newer players. 15 Morphix is easy. 5,950 Rubido. Yeah, 24 hours, and yet again, 35 Platinum to rush it, so you may join your friend over here, and I will see you tomorrow. No matter how nice it looks spinning there, it has to look nicer once we do this and actually get to use it. Oh, look, I just happened to have the normal one equipped. I wonder how that happened. You'd almost think I'd planned this. Now, to find the other one, should be under C, shouldn't it? There it is. How much better is it? It has 4 times the crit chance. It's the quicker attack speed that I first saw and thought, that is what is going to make this thing better. Everything else, the heavy damage side of it is greatly improved. Status is slightly less, but it's basically, wow. 4 times the crit chance. This thing was basically just a reskinned Lacera. You can add True Steel, Organ Shatter, and then throw a bunch of status mods on this. Maybe throw Blood Rush on as well to kind of increase that the crit chance, because that does stack with the combo. But unless there's a lot of enemies around, that doesn't really tend to matter anyway, because yeah, if you don't have a lot of enemies and you can't get that combo multiplier up, then the extra 60% crit chance doesn't really do anything. So I kind of threw more of 100 and I'm just going to say 100 plus. I think it was 112, but that extra 12% is kind of, yes, they did this whole thing about you can now go past 100% status on weapons, but this thing in 12% over 100%, kind of meaningless. But that's because full-on status style build, because that only takes it to 136% anyway. So I kind of sacrificed some to throw some crit on this that did make a huge difference. Of course, the combination of elements I have on this can be swapped for any of them, really. I think I had this set up for corrosive because I was, for the build I probably should, because I was taking on the Corpus, Grenier. When taking on the Corpus, it'll swap to magnetic pretty easily because I only format this thing once. It's the slam attack. It kind of goes from 1080 like it is normally to 10,500 damage. The normal attack damage of this, I think the total was about 2,117, but the heavy attack, yeah, 8,472, and the slam damage was 10,589.4. That's just straight up nuts. And to be honest, this is another weapon where the heavy attack side of it saved it. That is why I threw Amalgam Organ Shatter on, because they need to make those mods a lot more accessible because of silly things like the Amalgam Organ Shatter. Yes, it has 5% less crit damage, but 60% more wind-up speed. So it increases the heavy attack wind-up speed, which is really important because 10,500 damage on the slam attack is nothing to be disgruntled about, which is where this thing kind of came in very clutch. Now, originally I was going to say, which is why I left this thing until after the rifle, that this thing was much, much better than the rifle from the event, because the Basmu at first was kind of disappointing until you really get a good build on that thing, and then you realise, okay, both of these weapons actually turned out to be pretty decent. I don't want to call them event weapons, but it's kind of the only way to get them. They're not vandals. Vandals and wraiths tend to be the event class weapons. Neither of these go by that name. They are just, one's a sentient weapon, the rifle, the Basmo, sentient weapon, and this thing is just better than the standard one. Not to an extent where really you have to get the normal one and then instantly try to get your hands on this. This is kind of it's a slight upgrade to the original, but not a massive upgrade to the original, because the stats of it are pretty much exactly the same. The big deal with this simply comes with the fact that the attack speed is 1.08, and that just simply makes it do more damage, because it has a higher DPS, because it can swing quicker. Always the same with melee weapons. The stats look the same. It is very deceiving, because the quicker you can spin it, that always sounds weird when I say that, the quicker you can spin it, the more damage you can do over time. Hence, it has a higher DPS, meaning it's a higher damage dealing weapon. It's pretty much that simple. It's an upgrade to the original. It works really well, but I honestly could not tell between the two of them which one I liked more. The Basmo I hated when I first got my hands on that. After a few former, I started to really like that thing and couldn't understand why people were saying, well, this is a big pile of rubbish, we're not going to use this. Obviously the Shadow is better, it shoots explosive rounds, but that aside, this thing, I'm not going to say it's better than the Basmo, because I really did kind of fall for the Basmo. If you can, I also don't want to say handle it correctly, but if you can land those precise shots in the weak area of an enemy, so having a Banshee would be really useful to be able to see those, because it's not always in the head, that thing is really powerful. This, similar kind of thing. This thing is, because of the increased attack speed, the slightly better status side to it, it is really good against the Corpus, the Infested, but with shield gating still there, Magnetic does help deal with that, but it's just better against the other two. Against the Corpus, not so much. I would have loved to have seen this have some kind of sentient based damage side to it, but it doesn't have that kind of thing. It really is just, it's a good melee weapon. I wouldn't say it's a massive increase over the original one that makes it worthy of an event based weapon. It looks like a Vandal. It really should have just been called the Lacera Vandal rather than the Ceti Lacera, and then make it a real event-based weapon. But they didn't. They called it the Ceti Lacera, which kind of hides the fact it even looks, with the blue colouring to it, like a Vandal-based weapon. That, honestly, only thing that's got me about this weapon. It's slightly better than the original, but the attack speed really helps this thing deal a lot of damage. But with it having the same Vandal colour scheme, it really should have been called Lacera Vandal rather than Ceti Vandal, Ceti Lacera. Even Ceti Lacera Vandal would have done, but it's not classed as a Vandal based weapon, so it's not really an event based weapon, so shouldn't be hidden behind an event that will probably return at some point, kind of like some other events that have returned more and more and more. This hopefully will do the same thing and allow people to get this once the event has ended. It being behind an event is its biggest downside. Just almost impossible to get this once the event ends. But anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.